The courtroom was packed, the cameras rolling live to millions of viewers nationwide. Judge Judy, known for her no-nonsense attitude and sharp tongue, was presiding over a high-profile case involving Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, whose rising political career had already attracted intense media scrutiny. Tensions were running high. Crockett had just delivered a carefully crafted statement defending her controversial new bill, one that polarized the public and lawmakers alike. But Judge Judy wasn't impressed. Suddenly, Judge Judy slammed her gavel down and exploded, "Enough. Your rehearsed speeches won't fool anyone here. This is a court of law, not a political theater." The room fell silent. All eyes were on Jasmine Crockett, who remained composed but visibly steeled herself for what was next. Jasmine Crockett took a steady breath, her expression cool and unshaken despite Judge Judy's fiery outburst. The cameras zoomed in on her face, capturing every flicker of emotion as the tension in the courtroom mounted. Judge Judy, known for her relentless pursuit of truth and disdain for political posturing, paced slowly behind the bench. "You come here trying to defend a bill that, frankly, threatens the very principles this country was built on," she said, her voice rising. "You speak about justice and equality, but your actions tell a different story." The courtroom murmured, sensing the clash between two powerful women, one wielding judicial authority, the other legislative influence. Crockett's supporters held their breath, waiting for her response. Without missing a beat, Jasmine lifted her chin and delivered a comeback that instantly stunned the room. "Judge Judy, justice isn't about maintaining the status quo. It's about challenging it, even when it makes you uncomfortable. If progress threatens old ways, then so be it." Her voice was steady, clear, and carried the weight of conviction. The judge blinked, momentarily taken aback by the icy calm and strength behind Crockett's words. The cameras caught the rare moment of hesitation on Judy's face, something that millions of viewers around the world immediately noticed and discussed online. The courtroom atmosphere shifted palpably as Jasmine Crockett's words hung in the air, powerful and deliberate. Judge Judy, a figure long respected for her commanding presence and sharp judgment, now found herself facing a challenge unlike any before. For a moment, the stern judge seemed to reconsider, her eyes narrowing as if weighing the unexpected reply. The silence was thick, reporters leaned forward, the cameras fixed on the intense exchange that was unfolding live before millions. Then, with a slow nod, Judge Judy responded, her tone softer but no less firm, "Ms. Crockett, progress requires courage, yes. But it also demands responsibility. Change without wisdom can cause more harm than good. Your bill, as bold as it is, has consequences that cannot be ignored." Jasmine met her gaze evenly. "I'm aware of the risks, Your Honor. But leadership means making tough choices, even when the path is uncertain. The people I represent expect action, not hesitation." As the judge leaned forward, the tension between them crackled. "Action without accountability is reckless. Are you prepared to face the fallout if this bill backfires?" A flicker of defiance crossed Crockett's face. Every leader must be willing to take that risk. The exchange quickly became a viral sensation. Viewers praised Jasmine's poised resolve and Judge Judy's fierce insistence on responsibility. Social media exploded with debates, memes, and commentary dissecting every word. In the halls of power, politicians whispered. Was this a sign of a shifting political landscape, a new generation challenging the old guard, even in the most unexpected arenas? The courtroom drama wasn't just a televised spectacle anymore, it had ignited a national conversation about leadership, justice, and the future direction of the country. As the live broadcast continued, the courtroom became a battleground of ideas, where tradition clashed head-on with reform. Judge Judy's reputation for cutting through pretense had made her a formidable figure for decades, but today, Jasmine Crockett was proving to be an equally formidable opponent, calm, articulate, and fearless. The judge adjusted her robe, her eyes fixed sharply on Crockett. "You speak with conviction, Congresswoman, but the law isn't shaped by passion alone. It requires balance, between innovation and precedent, between idealism and pragmatism." Jasmine nodded thoughtfully. "I respect the law, Your Honor. But sometimes the law needs to be stretched to serve the greater good. The world changes, and so must our policies. We can't afford to be shackled by fear of change." The judge's expression softened briefly before hardening again. "Fear is not the enemy, Ms. Crockett. Caution is the difference between justice and chaos. The people depend on leaders who understand that." Jasmine's gaze did not waver. "I am that leader, and I'm ready to face whatever comes. The constituents I serve demand progress, not stagnation. If that means disrupting the system, so be it." The courtroom erupted in whispers. Behind the scenes, aides scrambled to update their statements, and political commentators analyzed every nuance of the exchange. The broadcast quickly became a trending topic worldwide. Media outlets ran headlines like, "Judge Judy versus Jasmine Crockett, the clash of justice and change," and "historic moment in political discourse." Meanwhile, social media was flooded with hashtags praising both women, #JudyFierce, #CrockettCourage, #JusticeDebate. Political analysts debated the implications. Was this the start of a broader shift in how politics and law would intersect? Could a televised confrontation redefine public expectations of accountability and leadership? As the live session neared its end, Judge Judy delivered a final statement that struck a chord with viewers. "Congresswoman Crockett, whether we agree or not, this exchange reminds us all that justice and progress must go hand in hand. It's the responsibility of us all to ensure that neither is sacrificed for the sake of the other." Jasmine responded with a respectful nod, the tension between them transforming into mutual recognition. The cameras cut, but the conversation was far from over. Outside the courtroom, the buzz continued. Millions had witnessed not just a legal proceeding, but a defining moment in political history. The moment the cameras went dark, the courtroom was still buzzing with an energy that seemed to ripple far beyond those walls. Reporters, aides, and onlookers alike found themselves caught in the aftermath of a confrontation that was more than just a clash between a judge and a congresswoman. It was a symbolic battle between the past and the future of American politics. In the days that followed, news outlets dissected every moment of the broadcast. Analysts praised Judge Judy's unwavering commitment to accountability, but they equally lauded Jasmine Crockett's fearless challenge to the status quo. Op-eds flooded newspapers and online platforms, debating whether the exchange signaled a new era of political discourse, one where authenticity and courage might finally replace carefully scripted soundbites. Social media erupted into a frenzy. Millions shared clips of the icy comeback that had silenced millions in the courtroom, with hashtags like #PowerfulWomen, #PoliticalShowdown, and #JusticeAndProgress trending worldwide. Supporters of Crockett saw her as a beacon of hope, a symbol of a new generation unafraid to confront entrenched power. Meanwhile, admirers of Judge Judy celebrated her role as a guardian of law and order, reminding the nation of the importance of measured leadership. Behind the scenes, political strategists scrambled to recalibrate their messaging. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle recognized the stakes had been raised. Voters expected more than partisan rhetoric. They demanded honest debate and meaningful change. In private conversations, Judge Judy herself reflected on the exchange. Known for her sharp wit and tough demeanor, she admitted to trusted confidants that Crockett's words had given her pause. "It's not often someone challenges me and makes me rethink," she said quietly. "But maybe that's what this country needs, a reckoning with old ways and new ideas." For Jasmine Crockett, the moment was a powerful affirmation of her mission. "I'm not here to be comfortable," she told reporters. "I'm here to fight for those whose voices have been ignored for too long. Change isn't easy, but it's necessary." The courtroom showdown had done more than capture public attention. It had ignited a national conversation about leadership, justice, and the courage to stand firm in one's convictions. It was a reminder that progress and accountability must coexist, and that true change requires both passion and prudence. As the political landscape continued to shift, one thing was clear: the debate sparked by Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett would resonate for years to come, inspiring future leaders to face challenges head-on, with integrity and strength. In the weeks after the explosive courtroom exchange, the impact rippled far beyond the immediate political circles. Town halls and public forums buzzed with renewed energy, as citizens engaged in passionate discussions about the future of governance and justice. Jasmine Crockett's bill, once mired in controversy, gained unexpected support from voices across the political spectrum who admired her resolve and clarity. Judge Judy, meanwhile, found herself at the center of renewed public interest. Her reputation as a no-nonsense arbiter was now complemented by a recognition of her willingness to entertain tough debates and evolve her perspectives. Invitations to speak at universities, legal conferences, and civic events poured in, where she emphasized the delicate balance between innovation and caution. The media spotlight also shone on the personal stories behind the political drama. Profiles of Jasmine Crockett highlighted her journey from community advocate to bold lawmaker, revealing the roots of her determination to challenge entrenched systems. Judge Judy's own backstory of rising through a traditionally male-dominated field resonated deeply, reminding many of the power of perseverance and principle. Behind the scenes, bipartisan groups began forming to seek common ground on the issues raised during the case. The fiery courtroom confrontation had shattered more than just a televised moment, it had cracked open the possibility for collaboration in a deeply divided political environment. In classrooms across the country, educators used the courtroom exchange as a case study on leadership, civics, and the power of respectful dissent. Young people found inspiration in seeing two strong women articulate contrasting views without resorting to personal attacks, demonstrating that disagreement could coexist with dignity. As public opinion evolved, so too did the political narrative. Jasmine Crockett's bill was amended with input from diverse stakeholders, incorporating safeguards that addressed many of Judge Judy's concerns without diluting its core objectives. This compromise was hailed as a model for how progress and prudence could advance hand in hand. For both women, the encounter marked a turning point, not just in their careers, but in their shared commitment to the ideals of justice and democratic governance. Though their paths and perspectives differed, their mutual respect grew, symbolizing a hopeful shift toward dialogue in a time too often defined by division. Months passed since the unforgettable courtroom exchange, and its reverberations continued to shape the political landscape. Jasmine Crockett's bill, now refined and bolstered by bipartisan support, was poised for a critical vote in Congress. The momentum behind it reflected a growing appetite among lawmakers for meaningful reform, tempered by lessons learned through rigorous debate. Judge Judy, though no longer on the bench for that case, remained an influential voice in public discourse. Her appearances on panels and in interviews emphasized the importance of holding leaders accountable while remaining open to progress. She spoke candidly about the need for civility in politics, warning that personal attacks and tribalism only weaken democracy. Behind closed doors, an unlikely alliance began to form. Crockett and Judy, once opponents in a fiery public spectacle, engaged in a series of private conversations. Their discussions were candid and sometimes tense, but always respectful. Both women recognized the power of their shared platform and the responsibility it entailed. Disagreement doesn't have to mean division, Judge Judy remarked during one meeting. We have a chance to show the country what leadership really looks like. Crockett nodded. Exactly. We can be fierce and principled without tearing each other down. The people deserve that. This newfound partnership caught the attention of media and political insiders alike. Some were skeptical, could two such strong personalities truly collaborate? But their joint appearances at civic events and co-authored opinion pieces quickly dispelled doubts. Their message was clear: political courage meant listening as much as speaking, and strength meant standing firm in one's values without dismissing others. This narrative began to inspire other politicians, activists, and citizens, fostering a climate where respectful dialogue was no longer an aspiration but a practice. At a national conference on justice and reform, the two women took the stage together for the first time. The audience erupted in applause as they spoke of unity, shared purpose, and the hard work ahead. Leadership isn't about winning every battle, Crockett said. It's about building bridges. Judge Judy smiled. And knowing when to listen is as important as knowing when to speak. Their story, once defined by confrontation, was now a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the fiercest debates, common ground can be found. The collaboration between Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett became a powerful symbol of reconciliation and progress in a nation often fractured by partisan divides. Their partnership inspired a wave of initiatives aimed at fostering constructive dialogue and promoting policy solutions that balanced boldness with caution. In Washington, bipartisan working groups began to emerge, drawing on the momentum sparked by their high-profile exchange. Lawmakers reported a renewed willingness to listen and compromise, citing the example set by the two women as a catalyst for change. Meanwhile, grassroots organizations across the country adopted the courtroom showdown as a rallying point for civic engagement. Town halls, workshops, and educational programs emphasized the importance of respectful debate and active citizenship. Schools introduced curricula focused on leadership, empathy, and critical thinking, inspired by the televised dialogue that had captivated millions. Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett continued to work together on various projects, including a nationwide campaign to promote voter education and participation. Their efforts were credited with increasing turnout in local and national elections, especially among young and marginalized communities. The media, too, shifted its tone. Coverage of political debates became less about sensationalism and more focused on substantive issues. Commentators praised the move toward civility and depth, attributing it in part to the example set by the two women. Yet challenges remained. Not all politicians embraced the spirit of cooperation, and political tensions flared in other arenas. But the legacy of Judge Judy and Crockett's encounter endured as a reminder that meaningful progress was possible, even in turbulent times, when leaders prioritized respect and responsibility over division and rhetoric. Reflecting on the journey, Judge Judy remarked in a rare interview, "The courtroom taught me that every story has multiple sides. It's the willingness to hear those sides that makes justice true." Jasmine Crockett echoed the sentiment, saying, "Change is never easy, but when we lead with courage and listen with open hearts, we can build a future worthy of our highest ideals." Their story had begun as a dramatic confrontation but evolved into a testament to the power of dialogue and the enduring promise of democracy. As the national conversation deepened, the story of Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett evolved from a viral moment into a defining chapter in American political history. Their once contentious relationship transformed into a symbol of what leadership could, and should, be in a divided democracy. Months after their public confrontation, the two women co-hosted a groundbreaking summit titled Justice and Progress, Bridging the Divide. The event drew politicians, activists, academics, and citizens from across the country, all eager to engage in honest dialogue about the future of governance. At the summit, Judge Judy delivered a powerful keynote speech that resonated widely: "Justice is not static. It must grow and adapt with society's needs. But growth without guidance risks chaos. Our job, as leaders and citizens, is to find that balance." Jasmine Crockett followed with an impassioned address: "Progress demands bravery, the courage to challenge old systems and fight for those unheard. But courage without accountability can lead to recklessness. Together, justice and progress must walk hand in hand." The summit featured workshops on bipartisan policymaking, community engagement, and leadership ethics. Participants shared stories of division and hope, finding common ground in unexpected places. The energy in the room was electric, a testament to the hunger for change tempered by responsibility. Back in Washington, lawmakers reported a shift in tone during debates. The example set by Judy and Crockett encouraged many to approach contentious issues with renewed respect and openness. Bills previously stalled in partisan gridlock began to move forward, shaped by compromise and mutual understanding. Meanwhile, grassroots movements flourished. Inspired by the summit's messages, communities organized listening sessions and forums to bridge local divides. Civic engagement surged, especially among young voters energized by the prospect of meaningful change. Yet, the journey was not without obstacles. Political opposition and entrenched interests pushed back, reminding everyone that progress is rarely linear. But the partnership between Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett stood as a beacon, reminding the nation that persistent dialogue and principled leadership could overcome even the most daunting challenges. In private moments, both women reflected on their journey. Judge Judy acknowledged how the encounter had reshaped her views. "I realized that strength is not just about authority, but also about humility, the willingness to listen and learn." Crockett shared a similar sentiment: "Leadership is a continuous process of growth. This experience taught me that respect and courage are not mutually exclusive, they are inseparable." Their unlikely alliance had sparked a movement, proving that even the fiercest disagreements could evolve into partnerships grounded in shared values. The nation watched and learned, hopeful that this new chapter would pave the way for a more just and united future. The months following the summit marked a transformative period in American politics. The symbolic partnership of Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett had ignited a ripple effect, encouraging a new culture of leadership defined by integrity, dialogue, and a shared commitment to the public good. Their joint efforts extended beyond speeches and summits. Together, they launched a nationwide initiative called Voices for Justice and Progress, aiming to empower communities, support emerging leaders, and foster bipartisan cooperation. The program provided resources for civic education, leadership training, and policy development, reaching diverse audiences from urban centers to rural towns. As the initiative gained momentum, political leaders from across the spectrum began to embrace the ethos it embodied. Lawmakers who once dismissed each other's views found themselves collaborating on critical legislation addressing education reform, environmental protection, and social equity. The gridlock that had long paralyzed Congress showed signs of easing. Media coverage reflected this shift, with increased focus on substantive policy debates and less sensationalism. Public discourse, while still passionate, grew more respectful and solution-oriented. Citizens, especially younger generations, felt inspired and engaged, participating in elections and civic activities at unprecedented levels. Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett remained at the heart of this movement, their unlikely alliance symbolizing the potential for change when courage meets accountability. They frequently appeared together at conferences, universities, and community events, sharing their story and encouraging others to follow their example. In a heartfelt joint interview, Judge Judy summarized their journey: "We started as opponents, but what we learned is that leadership is about listening as much as leading. It's about building bridges, not walls." Jasmine Crockett added, "Our democracy thrives when we're willing to challenge each other with respect and work toward common goals. The future belongs to those who dare to bridge divides." Their story, which began with a dramatic courtroom confrontation broadcast live to millions, had evolved into a powerful testament to the enduring strength of democracy. It reminded the nation that progress and justice are not opposing forces, but partners in the ongoing pursuit of a better society. As the country looked ahead, inspired by their example, the legacy of Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett stood as a beacon, proof that even the most intense disagreements can lead to transformative change when approached with integrity, courage, and mutual respect. The dramatic clash between Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett became more than just a viral moment, it sparked a nationwide conversation about what true leadership means in a deeply divided era. Their journey from fiery courtroom rivals to collaborative partners inspired citizens and leaders alike to rethink how progress and justice could coexist. Their story showed the power of respectful dialogue, the importance of accountability, and the courage required to challenge the status quo without losing sight of shared values. In a time when political polarization seemed insurmountable, their example offered hope, reminding the nation that change is possible when fierce conviction meets open minds. As their legacy continues to influence the political landscape, Judge Judy and Jasmine Crockett stand as enduring symbols of what can be achieved when we dare to listen, learn, and lead together.